All right, Ant, we're live.
Hey, welcome to the DnA show. Our beliefs, our legacy. What other shit what is I supposed to say?
Our show.
Our show, yeah. So stay tuned, and this is episode 2. And this is what's the date, man? I'm just
Today's February 4th.
February 4th. Super Bowl was on Sunday, and it was a good Super Bowl. What do you think, brother?
Good game. Good game. So, rooting against the Niners, obviously. Seahawks fans. Niners are rivals, so we couldn't go for them. Even though I was kind of rooting for Sherman a little bit because I love Richard Sherman. But I'm glad the Chiefs won. Chiefs, baby.
Yeah, I'm glad the Chiefs won. I mean, I'm not a hater of the 49ers. You know, when I was growing up, I loved some Joe Montana.
He's a stud, man.
Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. And I love some Sherman, but, it's just, they're in our division, man, so fuck them. And
I agree, dude. I agree. And, I will say this, man. Both teams, like San Fran being in our division, they're built well, right? They're going to be around for a good 4 or 5 year run. I think that defense is legit. That D-line is legit. Bosa's a stud. I think they're just solid, bro. They're going to be around for like 5 or 6 years as long as they're ran properly from, coaching on down.
Yeah. They'll never win a Super Bowl. They'll never win a Super Bowl.
You don't think so?
Coach. No.
I don't think it.
No.
So
no,
he
no.
was the Shanahan was he was the offensive coordinator with the Falcons when they lost the Super Bowl, huh?
Yeah, one of the biggest comebacks all time.
Dude, yeah, what the hell, Shanahan? I think he's a good coach.
No, he's a good coach, bro.
That's some bad coaching, though.
No, but this is it. This is it. He'll never win a Super Bowl, and will never win a Super Bowl with Schottenheimer.
You don't think so?
Hell no. His dad's Marty.
Yeah.
He was the Chargers guy.
Yeah.
It's a good team during the regular season. Playoffs come, Schottenheimer's tank it. Stop the run game, stop the tight end, they win games.
Yeah. They just got to open it up, man. They got to realize that Russell Wilson can handle it all.
Thank you.
Man, give him some more weapons on the outside, and spread it out, and let it fly.
Let it fly. So, hey, last episode we talked about ass whoopings, and we talked about, guns and things like that. But there was a topic that we talked about that you were in, a school shooting.
Yes, sir.
And the school shooting that you were in happened about 24 years ago.
Yeah, 1996, February 2nd, 1996. So yeah, that was Super Bowl Sunday, the second, right? Yes. So February 2nd, 1996, I was involved in a school shooting here in Moses Lake. Yeah.
Yeah, and so a close friend of mine, Miss Bailey, she was listening to the last episode, and we talked about bullying and the Lukitis kid, and you said that he was never bullied. Is that true?
Yeah. Well, I will say I don't know if he was never bullied, right? But going back to that situation, I feel so. My best friend Manuel Vela was killed in that shooting. The narrative that was created around the situation was that Manuel was a bully to Barry, which made him snap, which made him come to the school looking for him, and basically created this shooting. And that's not the truth whatsoever, right? Manuel was my best friend. We hung out every day. Not once did he bring up Barry's name. Not once did we bully him whatsoever. And it came out of his mouth, the day he was arrested in the precinct, that he wasn't bullied. And again, it came out of his mouth I think about 2 years ago. There was an appeal process, and I had a chance to go and be involved with that and speak at that. And he said it again. He was never bullied, So for people that keep running with that narrative, get your facts straight. Didn't happen. Never happened. Trying to make excuses for this guy and for what he did,
Yeah. So I mean, I know. Let's just go. Let's just talk about it. You cool?
Yeah.
You cool talking about it?
Yeah. Let's talk about it, man. I'm good. It's
All right.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I'm gonna ask some pretty personal questions, bro.
Yeah. Let's let them fly. I'll be
All
transparent
right,
as I can.
Off the cuff. So going through something like that, losing your best friend, and things like that. There's a lot of people in this community that it's still there, It's still this dark cloud over a lot of people in this community we really don't talk about it as much. Do you kind of do you have any, like, do you suffer from like any like PTS, or did you
PTSD?
have nightmares still, or do you still?
I did. Early on, obviously, I did have some nightmares. Hard to sleep for a while. When you think about it, at that time, didn't realize PTSD, right? I just thought it was just normal. But I swear it was probably a good 2-year run after this happened where I wouldn't sleep with my door shut and I wouldn't sleep without my TV on. I don't know, I don't know if it's just the darkness, something, but I never had the issue before. But when this happened, yeah, so this was something, obviously it affected me in a way I didn't understand at the time. So, yeah, and to this day, man, I can tell you right now that environments I go into, I'm always very aware of where my exits are. I always look, if I'm a movie theater, if I'm at a school, if I'm at somewhere where there's a lot of people, I'd look.
That's just something that you do. It's just like,
yeah.
Wow, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. So the day that it happened, was it just a normal day? I mean,
yeah, normal as anything else, right? So it's really weird. I can think back, and I'll just try to kind of give you like my mind right now, which it's really weird because I can remember everything that happened from right before that class till everything after that class up until we go to the hospital. Like, I remember it vividly, which is crazy. I remember before class, it was Manuel and his girlfriend, myself and my girlfriend walking down the hallway together to class, and then we broke up and we go to class. And my girlfriend was in the first class, I was in the next class, and Manuel was in the class next to me where the incident happened. So we all go our way after we break up at the classroom doors and go our way. And just in class, and I recall just as normal as ever.
So I mean, like, what'd you think when you heard the shots? What was your
right? So I'm in class and I'm sitting next to a friend of mine in the kind of towards the back of the class, and you got to think behind me is the wall that's separating myself and the classroom where the shooting happened. And I hear the first bam, and it's loud, right? So our heads just kind of come up. We look behind us. Bam, another one. I look immediately up front at our teacher, Mr. Kester, at the time, science class, and I just saw a look in his face that was a look that I will not forget. It was a look like he knew something was wrong. Like he just knew the sound, right? Something was wrong. So he gets up and he goes to the door. He peeks out the door. He locks it, and then the classroom phone rings. He goes and answers the phone and then tells us to get under the desks. So all the kids get under the desk. And so at this point, we believed, we all know like there's something going on. It sounds like a shooting. We think it's a shooting, but not even really quite understanding the magnitude still, right? Just not quite getting it.
Getting it. So when did you realize it was gunfire? Like,
we realized after like the 4 shots go off, right? And so you guys, this actually, it killed 3 people and severely injured another. 2 students and a teacher were killed. So some time had passed, right? We're just underneath the desks waiting to be allowed out of the class. And finally we get escorted out of the class. And what had happened was another teacher, Mr. Lane, came and basically got Barry to open the door and let him in the classroom, and tried to talk him out of the situation, and ends up, rescuing all the kids by wrestling the gun away from Barry Lukaitis, who was the kid who did the shooting. So super thankful for him, man. Him and I actually have a really good relationship to this day. Every time we see each other, it's always a good long conversation. So that happens. He basically subdues him. We're allowed to leave the class. And the crazy thing is this, I remember colors that day. The colors, like the smell, everything about that day vividly. So we were walking out the classroom to exit the front of the school, and there's a trail of blood down the hallway, where basically they what the heck happened here? Where'd our Audacity go? Sorry, guys.
It's there.
Oh, I gotta go right here. It's probably still running, so I'll have to edit that. Still going. Good. So basically, we're walking down the class, exiting the school, and there's a trail of blood down the hallway, and the blood is different looking, right? It's not looking like a bloody nose blood. It's thick, it's dark, it just looks different. And right at the corner of the hallway there, before we exit out, there's another teacher there who's giving CPR to another student, Arnie Fritz, trying to save his life. That was Mr. Edwards. So we saw that, man, remember that plain as day. And we exit the front of the building with all the other students, and I actually see a silhouette of somebody being escorted and put in the police car. Somebody in a black trench coat. At this point, we still have no idea, like, who this is. I couldn't tell if it was a kid or an adult or whatever. And we're all escorted to the gym, the middle school gymnasium. And all the students are in there, and we're just all there waiting. And I remember, I knew what class this was in. This was in my best friend's class. We knew it was the class next door to us. So I'm just waiting for my friends and my best friend to show up. Right. So finally, that class starts coming through the doors, and my good friend Jenny comes right to me, and she's just bawling, and she says, "Manuel's dead. You know, he killed him." And I just broke down, started crying. And I turned around to the gym teacher, Mr. Lindgren at the time. He was right by me, and just hugged him and bawled probably for about 5 minutes straight, just cried. And then, then we were escorted out sometime later to buses, and we're all bused to another middle school, Chief Moses Middle School here. And then from there, we all went to the hospital. And, that was it, man. I remember one of the toughest things there is knowing that he was dead. We knew. I was in a room with all the parents, or the parents of Manuel and some other family members. Right. And I remember Manuel Sr. asking me what happened, and I couldn't even answer him. No words came out of my mouth. I couldn't tell him anything.
Right. That's a crazy story, man.
Yeah.
And I remember the day, and I was at the high school when I heard about it. And the crazy part is that Mr. Kairos was the principal at the school, and when I went to that school, I was a punk, I was fighting and doing all types of stuff, but that principal, he embraced me.
Yeah,
he embraced me.
Me too. He was a great guy.
And Mr. Kester, you know why I'm crazy coaching? You know I'm crazy. Kester was one of my first.
He was a good dude too, man.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
Yeah.
But he was, so it's one of those things is that I had him, and but yeah, getting back to the point, and John Wagner too, But
John Lane?
No, Wagner.
Who's Wagner?
You don't know Coach Wagner.
Don't know Coach Wagner.
Yeah, we'll have a story. A-class guy, one of the craziest, coolest guys.
We need crazy guys back in.
But yeah, so what I did was that I came down to the school to hook up with you.
Yeah.
And I went and talked to Mr. Kairos. Mm-hmm. And this was like a day or two before it happened. And Mr. Kairos is like,
and his wife was the teacher that was Matthew.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going to him, and he was just like, "Man, Anthony, man, listen, since you and your friends left, man, my school's going good. Ain't no fights, ain't none of this going on." And then when that happened, it was crazy because I didn't see him probably for like a week after that. And then he just popped up at the high school.
Yeah.
And I seen him, and we locked eyes.
Yeah.
And he started crying, and I started crying.
Yeah.
And we hugged.
Yeah.
And that's the last time I seen him.
Yeah. Mr. Kairos was a good guy, man. One of those principals, I think, that really fought for the kids and really fought for the ones that he knew were good kids but were doing dumb stuff. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So I always had a lot of respect for him, man. Yeah. Always.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's
But, I think the biggest thing for me, too, like, and you may ask this, but I want to be clear, because to this day, people still, when the memorial comes up, on social media and whatever, I always see people relate this to him being bullied. And we need to get the facts straight, man. It never happened. And if you don't know the facts, you need to shut your mouth, because I seen the Vela family take the brunt of this incident, because the narrative that was created that their kid bullied this kid to make him do this, and it's not the truth. Right. So that stuff for me, knowing the truth, having him say it multiple times and people still run with it,
Right.
man, y'all need to shut your mouth at this point, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's yeah. I mean, that's deep, man. And that can't get no more. That can't get no realer than you know, going through something like that and experiencing something like that. And so, I mean, just kind of like, so another question, doing with the whole school shooting thing. Mm-hmm. What would you tell your kid to do
if a shooting was happening?
If a shooting was happening.
That's crazy, you know, because this is the thing. Like people, I guess PTSD.
I know this is what I know. This is not scripted. I'm just telling, like, what do you do?
Well,
man?
you know, and talking about a little bit of PTSD, I definitely had a ton of anxiety with sending my kids to school. I have 4 boys, right, and 3 of my boys have gone back to the same school where the shooting happened. So there's a ton of anxiety with sending my kids back to that school, you know, and even at the school, right? The school. I remember my oldest son is 22, Derek, little Derek, we call him. He came home one time and they had an assembly talking about bullying, and they referenced this shooting and this case and said that this is the reason why it happened.
Really?
And Derek, knowing better, Derek's middle name is Manuel, after Manuel, told them like that's not true, like that he wasn't bullied, and actually kind of got in trouble by a counselor at the time that said that he didn't have his facts straight.
He did?
Yeah. So my wife actually calls to the school and tell them to get their facts straight. You know, so that is stuff that, like, people are so misinformed of the situation and they're just running with a false narrative, man. You know, so that shit irritates me. I've checked a lot of people over the years that have not known how close I was to the situation that have brought that up, and I'll let them finish their conversation. I'll just check them. I'll put them in place and in a nice way, but let them know their facts are wrong. Right. You know, as far as telling my kids what to do, man, that's just scary, man. You know, I think that's why I just tell them to try to be cool with everybody. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's not because of if the kid is bullied to do it, but if a kid comes in there and you're cool with him, hopefully he'll spare you. Yeah. Because the truth is, if they come in your school, there's not much you can do, man. You can hide, but really it's a gun. Right? So I just tell my kids, man, be cool with everybody, dude. So if something happens, hopefully at least he's like, oh, I knew little D was always been good to me. You know, next, you know, it's sad to say, but you know, there's nothing really kids can do, man. Like,
yeah, and it's one of those things that's to the point to where you always tell your kid, hey, if you see a kid that's getting bullied, you know, hey, protect, you know, hey, that kid's, help the guy who's getting bullied. But, you know, we would want our kids to be a hero and save the day. Yeah. But, you know, this ain't no TV show, bro. Yep. You know, this ain't no, you know, cut. You know, next take, you know. So the thing is, somebody's shooting. You say, hey, man, run, jump out a window, do some crazy shit to get away. You know?
That's and all. Kids actually were doing that day. Kids actually that day were jumping out of the classroom windows and taking off. And I'm just like, man, this is back in 1996, bro. Like, and I remember this day. Like, I can't even explain how vividly I remember that period of time from right before that class through the evening till we got to the hospital. Right. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean that's it. So in our district we have going on right now, we have another we went over everything, bro. We went over everything.
All those questions got answered?
All of them got answered, man, and I just want to make sure that, you know, I could tell, man, I've never seen you get this frustrated, dude. No, I can see the frustration, and the whole deal is that did you just get over it? Did you go counseling? Did you do it?
I didn't do any counseling. They had counselors come to the school after the situation for like a week or two. You know, counselors just came and you could just, you know, break off if we needed to go talk and stuff. But yeah, no.
And me and you, we talked about this several times. But at the school that Mr. Kairos, he put this thing in there, and it was called Group. Remember the Group? Yeah. And I was like the first group of people that got together that had like family issues and things that went on, and it was a mixture of kids. You know, it wasn't just like, you know, kids from, you know, this. It's kids that were suicidal. It was white kids, black kids, Mexicans, and, you know, it was kids in there that had issues that this guy seen something. Yeah. And he put this thing together called Group, and we would just go sit in there, and we sit in a room for like a period. Mm-hmm. We'd do it like twice a month and just kind of like let ourselves kind of release,
Yeah,
you know. And it was
yeah.
like it was kind of like counseling, man. It was it was really good because I learned so much from it, you know.
And I think you learn that a lot of people are dealing with the same shit you're dealing with, similar stuff, you know. So I think that's good. I think that's one thing that schools nowadays, and I have lots of strong opinions about our schools and how we do things, but I just think that everything is on such a metric now. Like we got to do this, that so many kids are falling through the cracks. And we're not spending enough one-on-one time or time like that. Or it's just like, I need a kid to come in here and just say what's on their mind, cuss a little with no judgment. Right. Like we need that stuff, man. You know, I think one things I had somebody ask me though, Anthony, question-wise about this is like they've proposed teachers being armed in schools. And I think we talked about that last episode. So let's dive a little more on that real quick. You know, me being through this situation. You know, what do you think about teachers being armed in our schools right now? Because that's something good.
You know, I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
The whole deal is, I guess you can look at it from a viewpoint of the situation that you were in, to where if a teacher had a gun, would it went that far?
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
If a teacher knew what they were doing and they, you know, pulled it out and they took care of the situation real quick,
it'd be good, right?
That would be good, but I think that those cases would probably be slim
to none. Yeah.
I think it would be to the extreme to where within so many years a teacher killed a student because they got an argument, the kid reached in his bag or some shit like that, and shot the kid, and it's been like, well, hey, so you know. But this one of those things, I just don't think that. I just think that I like ice cream sandwiches, man. Those things are good.
I was thinking the other day, you know, we talked about this because I think when they first started talking about this, like, yeah, that's a good idea, man. Arm these teachers, protect our children. My kids are there. I want them protected. But then I can see, you know, some students being discriminated against, you know, and some singled out, some stereotyped, and you can just see where the potential of things leading down that way that could just be negative, not good. Right. You know, and what I thought about was the amount of training they'll obviously have training, but the amount of training is going to probably be minimal. And I just thought about, dude, we have police officers and you know, I don't mean this in a negative way because I have family that are police officers and I know, and they're good people, but we have police officers with tons of training that we expect will make good decisions, but are also making mistakes and killing people because they're either profiling or they're thinking it's, you know, worse than what the situation is. And my point is, if you have cops who are very well trained in handling situations like that make mistakes, that falsely, you know, are shooting people and killing people, how do you think a teacher could not make that same mistake?
Right.
With less training, less background in that. So that's why I'm like, yeah, maybe.
Nah, fuck no, man. Don't get no teaching no gun, dude.
I know. Running down the hall martial law style and just like.
No, I'm just saying, you give a teacher a gun, somebody can muscle that gun from her and just like, this is I always needed this gun from her.
Yep.
I needed this gun from him.
I think I heard something or read something not too long ago where I think a school had approved this to happen, and then these teachers they approved had to go through a training, and there's only certain ones that could carry guns. Well, and I could be wrong, but I think this is accurate, that this teacher left her drawer unlocked and a student actually got the gun. The student didn't try to do anything wrong, but just had access to it and got it. Mm-hmm. So those things definitely can happen.
Yeah, there's a movie with Samuel Jackson called 187.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a gangster-ass teacher, man. He be killing students and shit. But there's some bad little motherfuckers, you know?
Yeah.
So I told my aunt I'm going to try to work on my cussing. I'm trying, Auntie. I'm trying, but I don't think it's going to work. But yeah, man, he was one of those teachers, man. The whole deal is we send our teachers go to school to teach. Yeah. And they're a really big part of our community. We have cops to protect and serve. Yeah. You know, so if that's something that you want to do, bring cops in, which I disagree on that too. But if you want to bring cops in, but don't tell a teacher they need to be a pistol packing PE teacher or some crap like that. That would, you know, they're always going to pick the PE teacher too. Right. We're going to give it to Don. He's going to be the guy that's going to carry the gun. He's going to have a safe. Then he's going to. Come on, man, don't do that to that guy. Yeah, dude, that's a good subject. I mean, I think there's pros to it, but I think there's more cons than pros. Yeah, you know? I think just my history of just seeing how teachers, you know,
treat certain kids. It can just, I just don't know. They'll be singling out certain ones, I think.
And, nowadays, man, teachers got it rough nowadays, man.
Oh yeah,
because they got to go to school and they got to deal with like mental patients, and it's like we got an incident going on here in our community at another school that our kid goes to, where a teacher, dragged the kid out of the classroom and. Everybody's making a big fuss about it. And to me, it looked like the kid was going on a roller coaster ride. He didn't look fun, But
didn't look fun, or it looked fun.
It looked fun, You can take me. All he did was just help the janitor clean up the hallways a little bit.
That's a good way of looking at it, dude. Yeah. So do you have specifics on that story? Like,
nah, man. All I'm just saying is that the teachers are there to teach, man.
Yeah.
And if there's a kid that's acting up in the class, what is he gonna do?
Yeah.
Go get Don the pistol packing PE teacher to come handle the little kid in the classroom? Right. Nah, man.
Well, I think this particular situation, man, I read up on it. My facts probably aren't the best, man. One thing you're gonna figure out, my facts are always gonna be like half the truth. So don't know me on everything.
Right.
But yeah, man, this teacher. I think he wasn't even the teacher. It wasn't his classroom. He was called in to help with a student who has a background has a little bit of a history, I guess, with just being a little troubled, I guess. And the student already only goes to school half a day, so he's a half a day student. So he's got some behavioral stuff, And I think he has a history where there's some other stuff involved to help. Or that's causing him to kind of react this way or act this way.
Right.
So I'm not blaming the kid wholeheartedly. However, this teacher is called in to help with a kid who's not listening or whatever, and ends up, dragging him down the hallway. And I say it like that, it sounds bad. Yeah. And honestly, when I first heard this, before I read the article and saw the video, I was like, hell no, dude. Like, that's my kid. I ain't having it, man. Nobody's doing that to my kid. Then I watched the video, and I'm not saying like, we need to drag kids down the hall, but I watched it and you can tell this there's no malice behind what he's doing. Like, it's not aggressive. It's not mean. Is it right? Is it wrong? Whatever,
right.
So it's, to me, it's blown out of proportion.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have their views, but this is the way I see it is like, if there's a kid acting up in the class and put yourself in that kid's parents' shoes, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
Then what you need to do is put yourself in your kid's shoes, and your kid's sitting next to this kid, and this kid's acting up, flipping out.
Yeah.
Let's say he has a pencil or some scissors or something, and he's swinging them, and he hits your kid in the eye.
Yeah.
You expect that teacher to just be, oh, it's okay. We're going to just evacuate the rest of the classroom, and we'll get the medic to take care of this kid. No, I expect that teacher to grab that little fucker by his neck and take his ass to the left. That's what if he does.
Get him out of there.
Get him out of there, man. I mean,
so the question would be like, when is it okay? Is it ever okay? Because if you go by the letter of the law, right? If you go, they can't ever do that.
Well, that's
what I'm saying.
Stuff that needs to be changed, man.
And that's why I don't like, bro. Like, I don't like that everything is black and white. Like, it's just like this or that.
Right.
There's a lot of gray in there, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of gray.
And teachers' hands are tied in a lot of situations, and that's not.
Yeah. So here's a good example, and I don't mean to go back on this, but let's just say there's a shooting in the school.
Yeah.
And that teacher dragged the kid out of the school the same way. Right. Are you happy?
Right.
Or you're like, hey, this is uncalled for.
Right.
You saved my kid's life.
Right.
But that's some California shit. They'll probably do him. We're gonna sue you.
Yeah.
But
I get it. That's like an extreme, right? That's like really extreme. Like, oh man, this. So people are gonna be like, oh man, you're going way over the top with that, But the truth is, it's just you're just trying to put it in a different perspective.
You gotta put
and be it in the other kids, the other parents, the other teachers' point of view, and what they're seeing, and what they're doing, and this is not even this guy's classroom, man. They're calling him for backup. He's coming over, He's coming over to help, and he's like, all right, this kid's maybe being unruly, throwing a fit. All right, we got to get him out of the class. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, I can guarantee you, back in the day, they would have grabbed that little. They probably would have beat the kid up.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if that was me, I would probably got smacked, but I probably wouldn't get smacked by that teacher, but we would have definitely been kicked out of class. Well, my dad would definitely whoop my ass, dude.
Yeah.
So there's a likelihood I got whooped by a teacher and whooped by my dad.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have no fit about it.
Yeah, I mean that kid. I mean, let me tell you, even if the kid didn't have no issues and nothing was going on with the kid, and the kid was perfectly fine, and that day he just decided he was going to act up, still take take protocol and doing getting that kid out of class. That's what the way I see it. That's just the way I see it. And so right now, what's going on with this? Was it still
I guess I don't know. I think it's under investigation, and and rightfully so. I think it has to be right. Like it has to be investigated, and looked at, and make sure proper steps were followed, but yeah, I don't know. I hope I hope this teacher's good, man. I'm watching this one and kind of hearing more of the backstory. You hope that he don't,
right, because what what's going to happen next time is going to be a teacher that's going to just step back and watch kids get messed up.
Yep.
And say, hey, I need to keep my job, man. I got a mortgage, I got a car note, my kids in college. I need them, man. If I touch this kid, I might lose my job. Yeah. That's the sad part. The sad part is that you're asking people that want to step up and take action. You're telling them, I have to. The law says I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's just one of those things. It's kind of screwed up that you're going through that, and it's kind of like one of those things. It's kind of like you got to be careful who you protect to make rules around.
Yeah.
And say we're making rules around this guy, so when something else comes up, it's like,
we
probably shouldn't have done that.
Yep. That's true, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Crazy situation. Yeah. But my kid goes to that school, and
my kid, all I think about 4 of our boys went there.
Yeah. And I have one there going there now. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, it's a good school. I mean, that if they had drugged him up, if I seen some video footage today that he was getting dragged up, and like, man, what the fuck was you doing? Because that's the whole deal. Is like, I'm one of those guys. Is I don't know. I always like, okay, I listen to my son, and I'm agreeing with the teacher.
Yeah.
All the time. I agree with the teacher all the time until he proves me different.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I don't want to go in there being like, man, my kid wouldn't do that. Oh, my kid wouldn't do that. And you're looking at the video footage of your kid doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And I've been in those situations too where my kids, have gotten to some things, and I go in there and I try to go in there every time with that mentality, right? Like I want people to know, like, hey, I side with the teachers in school, and let me hear things out, but I want my kids to know I believe them too. So yeah, I definitely got to go into like that, but
yeah. I don't listen. You're nice. I don't believe my kid at all. Like it's like the teacher said you did this, and I'm looking over him like, listen here, motherfucker. You best be.
I know how you are.
Just give me one reason why why would this grown ass man lie on you?
Yeah. And I think for me too is I've just seen the opposite, right? I've seen the opposite and I know for a fact that teachers have passed judgment on my kids.
Right.
Like I know for a fact, I've heard this from other teachers that are in the environment, like, man, you can't believe these things these other teachers are saying, or these things they said about, your son or this kid or that kid.
Right.
So I know that stuff's going on. You know what I'm saying? So I think for me is I got to a point where I had to always expect my kid, who 12, 13, 14, to make adult decisions and react in an adult way when I knew for a fact that teachers weren't acting and reacting in the adult way.
Right, I got you.
So I'm like, how do you hold a kid who is 12, 13, 14, middle school, that is just hormone, all this stuff is trying to figure out who you are to a higher standard than yourself.
Right.
But they always get away with it though. And you've had a good point off subject. Put cameras in the classrooms.
That's one.
Put cameras in the classrooms, man. You know what I'm saying? Because
we talked about that a while back.
Yeah, that's great. Put cameras in the classroom, and if my kid's acting out, man, whoop his ass. I know it's true, but I want to know that these teachers are getting paid for doing their job and doing the right stuff and not falsifying, not lying,
because what you have is that we're taxpayers.
Yeah.
Our money goes to the school, and it's kind of like, hey, let's see what those guys are doing.
Yeah, because I know for a fact. Well, I don't know for a fact, but I'm just saying hypothetically for a fact.
Right.
I know there's other parents out there who have had situations at school with their kids where a teacher's lied about a situation or not been 100% honest, or what's the word I'm looking for? Made a situation seem like it's
kind of like fabricated.
Just been worse than what it is.
Yeah.
And who's to check the teacher? He said, she said. I got a 12, 13-year-old middle school kid that's going to, his story's not going to stack up to a teacher. They're always going to side with the teacher. So I know parents, I want to know.
It's coming, dude.
I want to know, parents, have you guys dealt with some stuff in school with your kids where teachers have just not been honest And
you know damn well you're gonna get a whole bunch of shit.
I want to know. I want to know because my wife and I've lived through some, and there's good. Right, I'm not saying all teachers are bad. There's a lot of good teachers. We have friends that are teachers, friends that are in administration and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's still some bad ones out. There's some bad apples out there.
There's some bad apples out there, but your kid might just be a bad little motherfucker that knows how to manipulate you. So you might write in, let me tell you, A&D show, my kid did this. No, your kid's a little bad little motherfucker, man. But
I know because I've had both sides of it, dude. Where my kid hasn't been 100% honest, and I'm like, dude, I always tell my kid, man, listen. Don't make me go in there looking like no asshole, dude. Like,
don't go in there.
Because I'm going to fend for you, son. Like, I want to have your back here, but don't make me look like an asshole. And I've had it both ways. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't.
But let me tell you, this is what it is. When I go in there, right, and I'm saying my kids, I'm on the teacher side all the time, because he knows I have his back.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
I got his back. But when he looks over there and he's like, my parents don't got my back.
Yeah.
I'm all by myself.
Yeah.
This teacher saying this.
Yeah.
This teacher saying that. So I'm putting him in a position by himself to be like, I ain't got nothing but to tell the truth, man.
Yeah.
To get them back on my side.
Yep.
You know, so I guess that's one reason why I do it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more of some mind Jedi shit.
Some Yoda stuff.
Yeah, some Yoda shit. But yeah, man, I mean, that's yeah.
So I want to know, man. I really do want to know. People out there listening.
Yeah.
I want to know if you guys have dealt with some stuff, and what is a story you had where you just had it with your school district, a teacher that you felt like has done you wrong. I'm just curious. I want to know because I can't be the only one that has some issues, man. Am I the only one with these badass kids?
Yeah. No, I'm just messing around. No. The thing is that my whole deal is that you think that would be wrong?
For what?
And wanting cameras.
I don't think so.
In the school.
No, because this is the thing. They use cameras in the hallways to get kids in trouble that are not acting right. What's the difference of putting them in the classroom for my safety and the teacher's safety?
Right, I hear you.
Right? I just think it's just as important, right?
Because what happened with this deal, we would have seen that kid acting up in that classroom.
Yeah. And
we would have seen the outcome to where if this teacher did something wrong in the classroom.
Right, so you can see whether maybe it was a little more warranted, right? Like, oh, man, you know what? Teacher,
like 2 weeks before, he hit the girl in the head with this, and you would know who the bad kids were, you know? Because let me tell you, kids that are bad at school and they don't give a shit, they don't give a shit at home. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
I've seen some people that their kids is like, they carry themselves real good in the, in the community because we live in a small community and whatnot. And, but you think, oh, this is a good person, man. And then you see the way that their kids talk to him. It's like, what the fuck? he just said, fuck you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like looking like, man, what you gonna do? Like, you gotta crack him, dude.
I know you would.
You gotta crack him, dude.
I know you would, man.
Even though, man, you gotta, even if you gotta go to jail for a couple days, just let that kid know you mean business.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, so
one thing I've always wanted too is I want people to know, like, if there's a situation with my kids and stuff, I'm always like, hey, we're gonna handle this at home, just so you know.
Yeah,
there's always repercussions.
No,
man.
you lay it down, bro.
So that's the thing is when I go to these schools too, and I'm fending for, and I'm trying to hear it all out, I want them to know, like, hey, we don't just let this slide. We don't leave here and just be like, all right, man, go home. I'm off.
Right.
You're fine. Like, no, there's always repercussions.
Yeah,
right?
I know there is, man. I mean, that's how it is, man. But boys will be boys, bro.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you, man. There's just some things you can't do, I tell him, like, I got a kid, man, this guy, he's stubborn, man. It's kind of like, boys will be boys, man. Yeah, he's not bad, but it's kind of like,
two boys. But to me, it almost seems like nowadays, like, you can't even get away with doing normal stuff. Everything is like punished to the nth degree, right? It's like, come on, dude. Right. Like, we had this incident, I think it was this year with my middle schooler, that I get called, he got suspended. He got in a fight at school, and I get called to the school, and I go sit in the office, and my son gets in a fight with a kid, and a teacher tries to get in and break it up, and she gets hit in this fight, right?
The teacher got hit?
The teacher gets hit, yeah. And
Yeah,
right. So, but the cameras mysteriously don't work right there, so none of this is caught on camera. I'm like, come on, dude, seriously. So, anyways, we're in the office there, and I'm talking with my son, 2 principals, and the police officers there. Obviously, everything police officers come, and my son starts to explain the situation, and he tells me, and I immediately get mad. And I should have waited, and he's like, he was saying he was in a gang. I know he's not in a gang, so I checked him, man. I checked him and told him, no gang, knock it off. So I said, why the hell are you checking anybody? You have no right to check anybody. So I'm yelling at him in front of everybody, right? Yeah. And then after we leave, right? And then on top of this, they're like, well, the teacher might press charges. So we don't know who hit her, but somebody did. So you might get pressed charges to Class C felony. I'm like, my son's 13. Like, he doesn't need a fucking Class C felony for this situation. And this is what happened. So he's got a kid that he knows, and they were supposedly friends. Well, he's at school this day telling everybody he got in a gang. And my son's actually, when he says I was checking him, he tells me afterwards, he's like, Dad, you always tell me to check my friends if they're doing something that's stupid, that's not right. So then I'm like, damn, dude, I do that. I tell my friend, if you got a friend, he's doing something stupid, put him in his place and say, hey, man, don't be doing that. That ain't cool.
Right.
That's what he was doing. What led into a little bit of an altercation because the other kid got embarrassed because he was telling him, you're not in a gang, man. Knock it off. You're not in a gang. Yeah. So led to this, right? So my whole thing is this. Right now, this makes sense. My son is trying to tell a friend, trying to do the right thing. Right. And when he said checking him, I thought he meant like he was like just like checking him, like trying to put this kid in check to start a fight type of thing. Right. That wasn't the case. Once we talked, I listened to him more. Right. And the whole thing is this thing got blown up where he gets a possible expulsion because the teacher decides to jump in there and break it up and she gets hit. And the police are involved and they're possibly going to file a Class C felony, which thank God they didn't. Thank God I'm glad they didn't do that stuff. But that's another situation. One, it's my son that got involved in something that really, he was trying to do something right. In a sense. It led to something different, but then the school wants to punish to this crazy degree, which can expel him and give him a record. Yeah. I'm just like, the whole system is kind of whack, Yeah. So, I don't know why I got into that, but
it's all good.
That was a crazy story.
No, that's real.
So I looked at the police officer and I got mad too, and he's just doing his job. And I said, really? Are you gonna give this guy a felony for that? I said, do what you gotta do, man. Do what you gotta do, and I'll take care of that. Like, I was just so heated. I'm like, I want my son punished, but we're not giving 12, 13-year-old kids felonies, dude. For you know how many fights I was in as a kid?
Oh yeah,
man. Might as well third strike you're out. I'd be in prison right now.
Yeah. I was gone.
Yeah, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was
like,
gone.
Come on, man.
Man, that's the thing is that I think that I don't know. I think there's kind of a outlet. I mean, some kids can have outlets doing some other things, and I think a lot of kids need an outlet of doing something like physical. That's why sports play a big factor. Mm-hmm. But sometimes, man, you just got to fight.
Yep.
And growing up, a lot of times the guy that you fought, you became like good friends with them. Yep. It was like, man, this boy, dog, man, we gonna fight. You duke it out, pat. And then before you know it, hey, you hanging out with him. Like, hey, this guy fight, man.
Yeah, you just gotta get this mutual respect. It's all right. Then you find out like, hey, we got a lot more in common than we don't.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things is that our times have changed to where you can't do nothing.
Nope.
Screw them all.
Screw them all. Yeah, dude, I agree though, man. And that's why I hate how everything is such black and white. It's black and white. It's like, let's take a step back. Let's look at the situation in totality and figure out, like, and I get it, man. Educators have a tough job, and it's not easy, man. Like, I think now times have gotten worse and worse, so their job is tough. But we're losing a lot of kids here too, man, to some stuff that's everyday stuff. 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, this was normal stuff to happen on the playground.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
and you know where it started off? Where? Mommies, man. Mommies fucked it up, dude. You want to tell me what this is? No more dodgeball. No more dodgeball.
No more dodgeball. No more tag on in recess. Like, they can't do all kinds of stuff these days.
Yeah.
Man, dude, we can get into this, man. I got strong opinions on
dodgeball. You fucking say they getting rid of PE.
I know. Bro, I got some strong opinions on some of this stuff. Oh, we're going to get into some good stuff, man. Oh.
Mommies, bro.
Yeah.
You know, we ain't talking about moms. We talking about mommies. You know, when your kid's fucking 35 and you're like, my baby. Yeah, that little motherfucker. Yeah.
He's been that way since he was 5 years old, man. Knock it off.
Baby.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah. So, man, that's a good topic. We could talk about that. And it's all good, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we good today? We got
good,
anything else, man?
No.
So yeah, man. I'd like to hear, if anybody's got any other questions about, my situation with the school shooting that I didn't share. Hey, man, hit us up, ask away. I'd love to, share a little more about that situation, and I'm sure there's questions out there that people have that I could possibly answer. If not, I know who could answer certain questions.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk. We ain't gonna talk so much about me, but we're gonna talk more about Derek because he's got some stories.
Just so y'all know, we're gonna get into some. Ant is certified the official badass growing up. Just so you know. So we're not letting him get out of this thing, not sharing some of his stories, because I tell you what, Anthony was a badass.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Derek's like real stories. Me fighting wasn't shit. When you fucking getting shot and shit, that's we gonna talk about that one of these ones right now.
Yeah.
Later, one of the episodes.
I think we've both had a crazy life.
I've been shot at. I just never been hit.
Yeah, I've been shot, man. That was a surreal. We'll talk about that. We've been that was surreal. I tell you what, going through that, man. Who would have thought? But everything happens for a reason, and I think we all have a purpose, man. And God has spared me a few times, man. So we're here for a reason. That's what I got to say about that. But hey, guys, give us a follow, man. The Lab DNA on Facebook, the Lab DNA on Instagram. We're on YouTube. Please subscribe and follow us. Let us know what you think, man. We're trying to get our followers up. The Lab DNA on YouTube, and check us out. We'll be on a podcast platform hopefully by the next time we air. We just haven't. We got so much going on.
We got so much going on. We got baby's kids. We got sports going on with our kids.
And social media is no joke. Figuring this thing out. We suck at this, man. So we're looking to hire somebody for free.
For free. So hit subscribe at the bottom, mother dude. All right.
All right, guys.
The DnA. Our legacy.
Our beliefs.
Our show.
Deuces.